You're listening to South East Radio's Business Matters, with thanks to Wexford Insurances. Wexford Insurances. More information at wexfordinsurance.com.
I'm joined now by Colm Neville, owner of the Riverside Park Hotel in Enniscorthy. Good morning, Colm, and thank you for joining me.
Morning, Karl. Thanks for inviting me along.
How's the hotel industry going at the moment?
Well, Karl, there's a lot of challenges, I suppose, in the hotel industry at present. There's a lot of oversupply. There's difficulty trying to meet bills such as rates, and the reintroduction, I suppose, of the JLCs that's coming down the lines to us is probably one of the biggest threats to viability for a lot of rural hotels anyway around Ireland.
Colm, I know that commercial rates have got huge media coverage across County Wexford over the last number of months, and you're instrumental in bringing that to the national forum through that organisation here. But more specifically, JLCs, what are they and what effect do they have on your business?
Well, Karl, they're effectively a further layer of regulation on employers that are employing employees. The type of on-the-ground changes that they can impose. In the past, they've imposed rates of pay on Sunday that could be double time. Most recently, then before they were abolished last year, they imposed time and a third. These sort of regulations keep premises closed, Karl, on Sundays, and basically customers don't have the facility to go out for meals, etc. on Sundays when the cost of doing business is taken out of our hands, when we can't negotiate with our own staff, who are very realistic about what's out there and what's available at the moment, and they're very, very glad to have their jobs. The day of staff being abused and of needing layers and layers of these regulations where there's protection already in place with the Organisation of Work and Time Act, etc., and many other instruments, they're gone. It's an anti-competitive approach to put another layer of regulation that's going to mean that we have to pay staff more. They may not want even more, and they may realise that the business's future depends on them not being greedy, and that the businesses may be able to agree with their staff, but we're not allowed to. And when that flexibility is taken out of the workplace, it leads to more uncompetitiveness, which is a serious threat to our industry.
So, Colm, the Joint Labour Commissions did bring in a rule whereby hoteliers would have to pay their staff double time and treble time by working on Sundays. That disappeared, I think, about 12 months ago at this stage, and you're saying that there's talks of it coming back in next year.
Well, there's certainly talks of the JLCs coming back in. It's a little unclear what regulation they're going to bring with them, but it's certainly further regulation. It's another layer of regulation. There's people talking about people having to get more money if they've been working with the organisation for 2 and 3 years, that they automatically get an increase. But Karl, there are jobs that you just can't afford to pay more than the minimum wage for. You can't afford to pay, and there's also people that are very happy just to have that job, and are very happy that the money that they take home is not expected to keep 3 and 4 kids and a mortgage and a house, but they're often second incomes. And there are often incomes that are of college goers that are very glad to have the extra money when they go back to college next year. So, okay, they wouldn't be affected obviously by the long service rule, but any rules that come in that doesn't allow the employer and employee to negotiate between themselves are anti-competitive in my view, because they don't allow us organise and arrange our own businesses.
In relation to wedding business specifically, how price sensitive has it become over the last number of years?
We're blessed with some very good venues in Wexford, and as a result of which there has been a lot of competition, and maybe more than there should have been down through the years. But price may bring a wedding or two in, but what really is important is the service we give and the repeat business. And those establishments that are surviving and that are thriving are ones that are not focusing fully on the price, but on the service that they give and on the repeat business.
How instrumental has the internet been to the growth of your own business over the last 10 years?
Of the business that's outside of our wedding bookings, internet would be about 55 or 60% of our accommodation bookings. So it's huge. It's very, very huge.
And what resources does that take up?
We are part of the great national hotel group here in the Riverside, and to be fair, we would have struggled to probably leverage all the tools that were out there to utilise the internet and maximise its benefit without the great nationals assistance in driving bookings through third-party websites and even through our own website. And we found the move to join to affiliate with Great National since last summer has been a very, very successful one in that regard.
I know TripAdvisor and other sites like Booking.com have become huge in relation to bookings for reservations in hotels. Why has the Hotel Federation never set up a site to compete with us?
There is a site, it's irishhotels.com, but it hasn't had the same traction or success whatsoever. Part of that has been a little bit of our own fault, that we haven't always given the best rates and the lowest rates to our own website, funny enough. But equally then we must remember that Booking.com, they charge a very high commission, and they reinvest an awful lot of that commission in pay-per-clicks and in investing in tools that drives more business to their website and holds the business on their website. They're absolute experts at it. And unfortunately, I have to say, despite the fact that no one in the industry likes paying the sort of commission we've got to pay Booking.com, they do send in quite a bit of business, and you can't afford not, at least I believe that we can't afford not to be with Booking.com.
You've put significant investment into the hotel in recent years. Tell me about this.
Yes, Karl, I suppose over the last 3 years or so, we would have invested probably in the order of about 750,000. And I realise that investment is not an obvious payback over a short term on that, but I have to say that investment, while it was difficult to commence such a large investment, when looking at it purely from the figures point of view, my own view on it was an investment in our staff, an investment in our brand and in what we're about here in the Riverside Park. And it was the likes of developing a penthouse suite that was second to none in the country for our bride when she stays in the hotel. It's an absolutely fabulous suite that we're very, very proud of. Equally, the renovation of all our ground floor and the function room only last year brought us right up to the top of the tree, in my view, regarding our competitors. On top of that, all of our en-suites, we were built in 1998. They had got tired. The hotel needed the reinvestment. All of our en-suites throughout, without an exception, have been renovated to the highest of standards, right up to the top of 4-star, almost 5-star standards in our en-suites. So it's enhancing the experiences, improving the brand, and that's what I would have been investing in the Riverside Park Hotel here.
I know that the Riverside Hotel is a real barometer for activity in Enniscorthy. Have you seen an increase through your doors in relation to corporate business, and also from a tourism perspective? What have you seen?
I suppose what we've seen from a corporate point of view is overall a slight reduction in the amount of corporate business going through, and I suppose that's reflective of the times we're in generally. However, I suppose specifically for ourselves, we'd have had a boost in the latter part of 2011 and in the early part of this year, where a local company, a great success story, Clearstream, had been taken over by a company, Bard is the name of the company, a US company, I gather, I think, and there's been quite a bit of commercial activity and quite a number of commercial reps staying with us from that company. So that's probably cloaking the reduction, but overall, obviously we monitor all the business coming in. Overall, commercials would be travelling a little less. From a tourism point of view, I think probably we're seeing a few less people coming through and into our bars and restaurants, but the biggest thing that probably we've seen in the last year or so is the reduction in the spend per head.
Right, Colm, that's the Riverside Park Hotel. I know you also wear the hat of President of Enniscorthy Chamber. You're in there for a 2-year term. What's your vision for the Chamber for the next 2 years?
Well, I suppose, Karl, I'd have to say that the biggest challenge, I think, and the biggest opportunity probably, I should say maybe in the Chamber, is perhaps to facilitate the groundswell of activity that's out there where people are are becoming engaged. What I mean by that is I think all businesses are looking at programs like Local Heroes. They're looking at some of the activity that would have went on in Wexford last year when the snows came and where the traders got out and helped themselves. I think more and more we're all understanding now that we need to help ourselves. We need to club together, and if we rally, there is some chance to survive in these times. So what I'm aiming to do and what I'm excited about doing is facilitating and organising people to actually come together and help each other. And I'm seeing that already in the structure of the Chamber at the moment. We've got a number of very active committees. We've got a networking committee that's having a lunch every month now where 60 and 70 businesses that wouldn't otherwise be meeting each other are coming back in touch with each other, reminding each other of what business is in our town. We've got a very active tourism committee that I chair myself, that are, for example, one of the main initiatives we have is to call together all the businesses of the town on the 11th of April to come along to the Riverside Park Hotel between 6 and 8 to tell us what you want the Chamber to do, what you want to happen in tourism. But the one thing that I'd have to say is we've got to be prepared to help and to work with these areas.
So you have lots of networking related initiatives coming up to bring business people together to support each other first before you're looking outside Enniscorthy to generate new business into the town. What are the issues facing retail businesses in Enniscorthy today?
It's clearly a footfall issue, and we've got to attract more people to our town. But I think what we've often missed in the past, and what I believe is we possibly all know, but it becomes you miss the wood from the trees when you're standing in the forest. We've got great things to offer here in Enniscorthy, and we've had great investment from our local authority. We've got the River Walk, we've got investment in Rafter Street, in Slaney Street. It's that type of stuff where we've got interaction with the local authority, and we just need, as the business community, I believe, to step up to the mark now, work together, link arms, and cross-promote to each other. We need every shopkeeper throughout this town to be an ambassador for the rest of the shops, to be an ambassador for the 1798 Centre, to be an ambassador for the Castle, the Vinegar Hill. We need to cross-promote each other and realise that it's the guy next door that's going to be my customer tomorrow.
Do you see the growth in terms of traffic coming through the tourism aspect?
I think tourism is the easy winner. I think because of what we have, because of the wealth of heritage that we have here in Enniscorthy, I think we need to ring fence it. We need to perhaps work a little on our brand and our presentation to the outside world, but equally we have to become more aware ourselves of what we have here. We have to become aware of how close in the proximity that the Gravity Activity Centre is out in Blackwater, the Quad Attack. We've got second to none attractions, whether it be kayaking down the river. They're too numerous to name all of them. But what we just need to remind each other of what we have here and be proud of what we have, develop that brand stronger, I believe, and then expose it to the greater environment, and I believe we will get the visitors then. And tourism drives footfall on the streets. Don't tell me that you're going to go somewhere and visit an attraction without having a cup of coffee, without popping in and seeing an unusual pair of shoes. We've got great boutique shops here in this town, and it's the absence of it feeling like another Cambridge High Street or Bristol or whatever that is our attraction here. We don't have a lot of the high street shops, and some people put that down as a disadvantage. We can turn that into an advantage. We can be a niche product.
With tourism being so important, how active are Fáilte Ireland in the area?
The tourism subcommittee of the Chamber are very engaged with Fáilte Ireland through visitwexford.ie. That's a great initiative that's county-wide. We have a job of work here in Enniscorthy to pull the Enniscorthy message together and to present it through Visit Wexford and any other media. Fáilte Ireland have offered their services to be available to come and do customer service training. That's throughout retail as well as tourism. We would be hoping that the business community will embrace that, welcome it, and get behind it and raise the bar of the actual service that we can provide, and let the experts tell us how we should be cross-selling each other and selling to the outside world when we do get the visitor through.
What's the Chamber's opinion on a bypass for Enniscorthy?
There has been a lot of concern in the Chamber about the effect of the bypass, and it will certainly affect certain businesses. You don't have to be a genius to realise that if you're a filling station on a road that is bypassed, it's going to do less business, obviously. However, the evidence of past bypasses all lead us to believe and see that the overall benefit in the town is strong. It does improve the town. It lets traffic move freely through the town, and if managed correctly, will increase the business that we can all do. So the Chamber would have to, in that circumstance, welcome the bypass whenever it comes along.
What other issues are facing Enniscorthy from a retail perspective?
We do have a crime issue in Enniscorthy. I'm not saying that it's particularly worse than anywhere else, but it is something that is of concern and one that we're watching. There has been recently a spate of break-ins out in the old Dublin Road, for example. I've had some businesses on about that, and we're working with the local authority there about possibly getting cameras in that area while the event may still happen. If people think that they're going to be tracked down and can be seen, we're led to believe it will cut down on the incidence of it. So it's certainly one to be watched. We've all got to watch each other's backs, I think, and it's one that needs monitoring. Another aspect that we definitely have to address, I believe, is litter. Litter is one of the absolute killers for tourism and in turn for retail. Walk down any street, and if you see litter on it, you're not going to feel comfortable. And it's a little bit like the business in the hotel. It's an experience that you're selling when people are walking down your street and coming into your shop. It's not just the product that you're selling. So people have to feel good about visiting your town. I believe that the businesses of the town have got to club together more and work for each other in that regard, and be prepared to shoulder some of the responsibility. Of course, some of it is the local council. Local council, I believe, are probably trying to do as much as they can. There can probably be always more done. But I believe certainly from our own point of view, people need to just look outside their own front door. And if we all did that, we'd have a relatively small patch to look after.
Today being St. Patrick's Day, what effect is that going to have on retail businesses in Enniscorthy town?
I think it's a huge opportunity. There's anything that brings exposure to our town is good. It has to be good. Anything that brings greater footfall has to be good. It is a struggle, obviously, for some of the businesses to necessarily justify opening their doors if they don't feel sufficient business is going to come in to pay the bills. I sympathise with that. You've got to make those decisions every day of the week. But I just do feel that if we can get the other element of it right, if we can club together and work together and cross-promote, I believe it can be a more popular town to come to visit. We can make it so, and in that case, I believe the retailers will step up to the mark, and they'll be there if the business is there, and I believe we can help generate that ourselves.
Okay, well, Colm, thank you very much for coming in this morning to chat to me. It's been very insightful, and I wish you all the best and the height of success in both the Riverside Park Hotel and your role as President of Enniscorthy Chamber.
You're listening to South East Radio's Business Matters, with thanks to Wexford Insurances. Wexford Insurances, #1 for business insurance in County Wexford.